Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Louis.
Gentlemen.
No, it's gentlemen.
All right.
Yes. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. What's
Good
happening,
evening.
Bluey?
Yeah, just waiting for a pump.
This is Talking Crypto Bull.
Right.
Welcome.
Where have you
Welcome
been,
to
bro?
all where have I been?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Well, like, I thought you might be kind of like a bit bigger by now, or a bit more kind of like we might feel your presence a little bit more by now.
Um like what do you mean? Like what, like you don't feel my presence?
We're meant to be in a bull market, but it doesn't really feel like a bull market.
No. This is Talking Crypto Bull.
Yeah. So you're the bull. You're the
So no, you misunderstand.
okay.
We like this is Talking Crypto Bull.
Oh,
So
okay.
we're talking Crypto Bull.
Right.
Does that, maybe I'm not being clear.
No, it's just
Nothing that
like
we say or do
it's
should
just,
be taken seriously, right?
yeah.
Nothing that we say or do can be taken seriously because we're just a couple of dudes talking Crypto Bull.
Yeah, that no one's watching, probably.
No. There's it's slowly, the ticker is clicking up as we speak.
Oh, really? People are arriving.
People are arriving, and by the way, we're not actually streaming on Twitter. So if we were to stream on Twitter, I believe the numbers would be different. But
Would be
welcome to those who are arriving. Make yourself make yourselves known.
comfy.
Right right in the chat. Make sure we know you're here. If you're just listening and you're not writing in the chat, then we don't know you're here. We see numbers. There's like a little like icon of an eyeball in the top of the screen, which tells us apparently how many people are watching, but we really don't know unless you guys write in the chat and say something and then click the thumbs up and all that jazz. But let's have a look at perhaps let's have a look at what's going on right now, which you know let's move around here. Let's have a look at what's going on in the RH ecosystem and what's going on in the crypto. There's a lot of red. I feel like we should be looking at some crypto bubbles. What do you reckon? Where are the bubbles? Bubbles. There we go, bubbles. I feel like there's going to be a lot of red here. Okay. Yes, a lot of red. A lot of red. What's that site? Do you know that site that has the square, like the page is like divided up with percentages of, no, not with percentages, but they're green and red rather than being bubbles. They're like, it's like, looks like a tennis court, or it looks like the rectangles when you're looking at like a Fibonacci
Is it maybe just
sequence type rectangles that add on all the way around.
is it just like a
Does
little
anyone
button?
know in the chat what I'm talking about?
Is it just a little
Am I
button?
am I making any sense
Is it just a little button you can press somewhere on that site?
here? I don't know. I don't know if you can get that on this site.
Are there any options?
Trends, play this from the stables. No, I don't think it's on this site. I think it's like a different, completely different site. But look at Hex down, Hex on Pulse down to 1 cent. Oh, that is painful to look at right now. I must say that is very painful to look at. But do you know what's interesting to me just looking at this is the Pulse price and the PLSX price are looking very, very close together. I actually wouldn't mind looking at that
ratio.
PLX. Yeah, between the two, because they were quite a ways apart not too long ago. So I wouldn't mind just looking at what's happening with those two. Let's have a look here. Let's flip it over to in PLS, in terms of PLS. Oh wow! So, because it was a quarter. It was like a year ago. It was no in January last year. It was like around a quarter. And now, over the course of 2024, it just was slowly going up. And the ratio between the two now is sitting on 80.8. Wow. It's a big change. I think that's indicative of like the fact that PLSX has the buy and burn, whilst WPLS does not.
Well, they started with the same supply, didn't they?
Yes.
And
Yes.
so a lot more Pulse X gets burnt because only a little bit of Pulse gets burnt, like with transactions.
But a lot of PLSX gets burnt.
Yeah,
quite a bit. There's actually, I believe, on
it was
this.
it was oversubscribed at the launch. Like there was a lot more money in the Pulse X because people had found out about the Pulse late, and so there was like it was always going to dump at the start because so many people had tried to get in it for that second round, and so it makes sense now that it's heading back to at least parity of Pulse.
But wouldn't you expect on over the long term, because you've got the buy and burn with the PLSX, and this is pure speculation on my behalf. I have no idea, but I mean, wouldn't you think that because there's just more PLSX getting burnt and there's no new supply ever, that like over the long term that is going to be more scarce, and in terms of a ratio between the two, that should continue to improve in the favor of PLSX. Shout out to Crypto Phil, Jerry, Cone Borgs, Hexagon Lost in Asia. What's going on, fellas?
And Jerry,
they're the people who wrote in the chat, by the way. They're the people who wrote in the chat.
I can see, yeah. So Jerry, I don't have any updates on Hedron Icosa. I thought it would have been out by now. So it could be like literally any day, but then again, like 2 more weeks. So I think he's probably quite ambitious what he's trying to do, and I think he's just doing it all himself, basically. I think so. It's gonna be awesome eventually I think it will get relaunched, and so, but I don't know where the market changes so much as well. Like all you can really do is like build interesting things, build what you want to do, and give it your best shot. And but like I've been very intrigued by Ink lately, INC. Because I've always thought it's really the glue that's holding this whole thing together, this whole value kind of thing together.
It's the incentive.
Yeah, and it's kind of like he has to make sure that this does well, and especially now that he's taken away all of the kind of like the yield. It's interesting, hey? Like when it first came out, I was a bit kind of like, oh, we don't know what, like this can change all the time. So we don't, like people were saying this is going to be the inflation rate, but we actually didn't know. We don't know what it is because there's all sorts of things in that MasterChef contract that can be done. So I think Ink's looking. I think he's going to have to send Ink in order to make people to incentivize people going back into the pools after hopefully a price pump, I guess. It really does feel like he's moving the pieces on the board around to get ready for something. Like especially how he Like he
Most definitely. It definitely
it,
feels like that.
especially like in like the order and the timing of how what he did with everything. Like first it was like stake big hex, big time. Just a little, just some for a week or whatever. Then it was like stake a whole lot for like, max. And then once those week ones rolled over, they went into month ones. And then at the same time, he's like, or just after that, he's like lowered any interest that people are collecting by being in the pools, like to the point where
You
you're
mean
just
ink?
you're highly incentivized to pull all of your liquidity. You're just not going to get the rewards at the moment because
Yeah.
in that
Unless you want
because
to eat
because
the
because in
impermanent loss
because in that L1,
permanently.
yeah, because then, and especially in those L1 pools, because you're not getting the fees. So all you're doing is eating impermanent loss. And so it's just there's no point at all in having money in those pools.
Cheers,
And
by the
so
way.
which is a kind of and then it's really interesting the way he's done that as well, because at first he knocked him down 95%. Like so it was like instead of you're getting 0.05, and then he knocked it down to 4% and then to 3%. I don't even know what it is now. But um like why would he just do that little bit of percentage each day? Is that just kind of wanting to give people more
So what
time,
what is it
or
now? What is it now? It
it,
was
it
point.
feels like it's building up to something, doesn't it? Like,
Yeah.
what? Like, is there a plan, or is he just playing by the seat of his pants?
So it used to be that the ink's inflation rate was 1 per second, and now it's one every 33.33 seconds
Yeah, but you just have
in
to
the
look at
course
it in
of like
terms of you just have to look at it in terms of like a
it's
yearly
like two every
amount.
minute now. Like
A
it
year.
used to be 60.
It's a time. It's
It's
time
less
based.
than two.
There's a yearly amount. There's a yearly amount that's coming out every year, right?
Yeah.
And it used
Yeah.
to be that if you had 1,000 come out in 1 year and then 1,000 come out in the second year, that's 50% inflation. Then if 1,000 comes out in the third year, that's down to 33% inflation. Then another 1,000 comes out, it's down to 25% inflation, and that just goes down over time. But the thing is that he's now played with that, so he could do anything. He could keep it here for the next decade and then pump it out of the blue, or he could just, he's going to time. He's playing the markets. He's got a few levers, and so he's allowed to. He can play the game a little bit, and it's like he's giving himself levers to play a game, isn't it? And it makes so much more sense now. Like when he did the Pulse launch, and there was all this big debate about whether the OA would step in and like buy a whole lot of it, and I thought it wouldn't because it didn't need to, and then it did, and I was like, oh, okay. And then when it did it for PulseX, that one I was really like, what are you fucking doing now? What are you doing it for that one for? Like, why do you need 90% of the holdings for that one?
Do you remember when the OA? Do you remember when the was it the SEC wallet or the OA was buying up Hex? Do you
When?
remember that? A while back. And then the market, and then everyone just sold. Like a lot of people, well, I
Oh
shouldn't say
yeah, like it
everyone.
was, well,
I think some people just
people
sold
are
it
guessing.
down. Like
Yeah, people are guessing that. Oh no, it was the sack wallet? Was it? It was like it had bought like maybe like not even that much, but it was very evident that people were just, as soon as it did it and tried to pump the price, people were just like dumping on it, basically getting like using it as extra liquidity. That wasn't that
yeah,
long ago, was it?
no,
Hey,
no. But do you remember that? And I remember thinking this almost feels like a test
yeah, yeah,
run.
for sure,
That's
yeah,
what it
yeah,
felt like. It's
yeah. He
it's
was just,
yeah,
yeah,
just to see the effect on the market
yeah,
of doing that. That's what it
yeah,
felt like, you know.
yeah.
But by the way, I just want to respond to Jerry's question. How come you don't use a cam anymore? 43. I've been horribly disfigured, unfortunately, in a pumpkin pie making accident, and my face is horribly disfigured, and I'm just unable to bring myself to I just don't want to do it to all of you. We already have so few viewers that if I was to reveal my disfigurement, I just fear that no one would show up. Well, maybe some of you were for Bluey, but yeah.
Don't sell yourself short, mate. Everyone wants to hear from the Golden Bull.
Everyone wants to hear from the Golden Bull, dude. I'm gonna give you and I'm gonna call it Alpha. Maybe I should call it Beta. I'm gonna give you my Beta.
Okay, not quite Alpha.
I'm gonna give you my Beta.
I'll give you my B grade shit.
This is what I think is going to happen. You want to hear it?
Please.
Okay.
I'll give you my D grade opinion afterwards.
What's after Beta? Alpha, Beta.
I don't know. Gamma, Delta. What's C? A, B, C.
Any Greeks in the chat, please feel free to correct us.
Delta, Gamma, Pi, Epsilon.
Please relieve me of my ignorance and tell me that what do we have to do to get unwrecked and tangent on Comborgs? Comborgs is like, man.
No, you'd have to like.
I'm not sure unwrecked. I don't think unwrecked is. To be honest, I don't know. I haven't.
It would be very hard to get OG43 and unwrecked on a stream together, but you could do it. It'd probably involve a golden yacht.
I haven't asked Tangent to come on. I'm sure once things turn up, Tangent will come on to celebrate. I'm very sure of that. So there'll be a time to celebrate, and when that time comes, I'm sure Tangent will be here, because if there's one thing I have noticed by just observing some of his Twitter posts, sporadic Twitter posts, he does like to party and celebrate. So let's wait until there's something to celebrate. And we'll see if we can put that together. Unwrecked, on the other hand, I'm not sure Unwrecked is interested in coming on.
No, you'd have to like surprise him, but then he'd get into it once he was on.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. But what were we saying? Oh yeah, I was going to give you my Beta. Not the Alpha. I'm going to give you my Beta.
Yeah.
Okay. So, we're going to make some assumptions, right? We're going to make the assumption that the market plays out in a way that at some point in the next 9 to 12 months, there is like an uptrend, a significant uptrend, and we are going to hypothesize that Hex goes to like $1 or something like that, right? Okay, so what happens at that point? What's going to happen? Well, there's probably going to be plenty of selling, right? Plenty of people are going to sell at that point. It might go higher, it might not go anywhere near that. I don't know. I don't have a crystal ball, can't tell the future, can't tell you what to do with your money, got no idea. I can't even work out what to do with my own money, let alone other people. So don't come here for financial advice, that's for sure. But this is what I thought might happen. If the prices went up like that, I think there would be like plenty of sell pressure. And whether it's $1 or a higher price or a lower price, it really doesn't matter. It's just like what the market will bear. Like what is the uptrend that the market will bear? At some point, there's going to be, the price will be too high for people to, keep their panties on, and it will get sold down. And also there will be people. There will be
between 5 and 10 cents. We're going to see so many people dumping.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But I think yeah, yep,
I'm
I think
guessing. I'm
so.
completely guessing. I've got no fucking idea. It just, I kind of like try to put myself in the shoes of people who've been
Well,
waiting for 4 years for a pump.
yeah, but
And
that's probably a good thing if people are
start.
selling out at that price. It's probably a good thing if people are selling out at that price.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's all part of it. I'm not saying it's bad or anything like that. I'm just
Yeah.
like thinking about $1. It's like, fuck, man, that's gonna. I mean, that could totally. I mean, we've seen how fast it can go, Um, but if I don't know, like in that first time, it felt like there was so much more of us like outreaching more. Maybe it was just myself. Um, like it's my outreach now to onboard people to crypto is so much slower nowadays. Like it's really kind of like
I don't think we should be looking so internally right now, and like this is more like a macro overview of what I think will happen over
Mm,
the course of the next you know in the foreseeable future. So
mm,
like I think assuming we have that uptrend, that really big euphoric uptrend, and then inevitably you get like people selling their bags down, like they're as people will do when there's a massive uptrend. um we see it on every chart in crypto. So when that happens, probably going to get sold down. And I think we're also going to see people EESing, like they're sure that like the stakes that are coming out over the next couple of years. I think a lot of people will just be like, well, why should I hang on to this and then have the uncertainty of what happens? I would rather sell it. Some of those stakes might be well over halfway. So they might lose big payday if they were staked from before big payday, but they'll still get their principal and yield on top of that as well. And I think that what that's going to do, I think that's going to happen a lot. I really think, like, I'm not sure. Can you hear me okay?
yeah,
Is
yeah,
my
yeah.
is my
Yeah,
Yep.
that's
I think
fine.
I
Yeah,
think that's going to happen way more than we think. I really think that's going to happen a lot more because people are just going to they're going to be thinking immediately when they think the bull runs over. They're going to be thinking, "Fuck, doing another 3 years like the last like 4 I just did." I think everyone's going to be thinking that, and you're going to have a lot of people ESing and getting out with those stakes and they'll just eat. They're like, hey, this could go down to like 2 cents or 5 cents or whatever. I'm not going to sit here looking at an 80 cent whatever or a 50 cent whatever and not sell it, not ES and not sell it. So I think that's going to happen a lot. But what that's going to do, right? Think about what that would do. That would completely gut the inflation that is actually going to hit the market over the coming couple of years. And you'd only have people who are like really sort of true believer stakers who have maybe set themselves up properly earlier, and didn't need to ES anything or didn't feel comfortable doing it. They'll be the only people who will have stakes in the coming years. So it could be possible that once that drawdown happens, that it's just like after that, there's just there won't be very much to dump anymore. It could play it like that, and then you've got the issue of like, well, we still need people to stake, right? You still need people to stake to come into the ecosystem and stake, for the whole system to work properly. So, the OA could, once all those ESs are done and then all of that has died off and we're just like boring old bear market, nothing happening. It just price has been down, whatever. You could get a situation where the OA starts ESing some stakes periodically just to like slowly increase that daily payout because there'll be less T shares in the pool. Therefore, the T shares that remain once those ones get ES'd are going to get more of the payout, the daily payout. And
yeah.
I think I think we could see that happen over the whole bear market, because that would spike in. Can you imagine a bear market where the daily payout is going from 2 hex per T share up to potentially 8? So you have like, you know, a 4x of the yield, which then, once again incentivizes people perhaps to come in and stake. So that's sort of like, as a general, macro overview, I'm not going to call it alpha, I'm going to call it beta. Yeah, that's what I think could happen. I
Yeah, it makes sense.
hypothesize that could happen.
Yeah, so like in best case scenario, there's a bull run. It finishes like either the end of this year or the start of next year. We start going into a bear, probably at the end of the year after that or whatever, or sometime he can maybe I mean he's got the choice. He could do it gradually, or he could do it in a shock, like like
You got to let
do,
the market do its own thing first, though. You got to let the
well,
market do its ESing first.
yeah. So, but I'm saying like once it's been in the bear for a while, and people and the weak hands have been getting out. Once he feels like it's maybe a bottom, he's got the choice then to increase the inflation just a little bit, or he could do it in a big shock, like just like go back to where we were, and like
Just ES everything, you reckon?
I mean, or anything in between, obviously, or he could have that play out over a period of time.
I feel like the period of time, like some sort of steady drum beat, like bang, bang, like happening every month or whatever, just people would be like, oh, like how long is this going to, this could, like there's 3,000 of these things. This could last for a while. I should stake a while so that I'm capturing it. It's not going to be a bull market for at least another 3 years. So I might stake for 3 years and, do that. Like, I think there's a lot of, I mean, these,
I think that's a good
these
idea
are
as
just,
well. Like doing it, like showing that you're doing it a little, in little bits of incremental. That I mean, it depends. Maybe that doesn't get so much publicity necessarily, but what it does is it gives people way more incentive to stake, but not necessarily flood into staking. It's interesting, isn't it? I mean, he's got something to play with there, and at the same time, he's going to be playing with this MasterChef thing with the ink protocol. So he adjusts how much ink is coming out, and there was have you actually looked at the ink contract on chain? Do you want to have a look at it now?
no. Happy to
It's
look at it, man. Where
yeah,
do you
we can
want me to
just
go and look at that?
let's go to pulsechain.com and
You want me to go to the Explorer?
yeah, go to the Explorer, grab the ink contract address.
I'm going to go to, you want me to grab the ink contract address? Okay, hang on. What about if I go back here? Will Go Pulse have the ink contract? Yes.
Under
Right
swap. If
there.
you go to swap, you'll be. Oh, you got it there. Yeah. Cool.
And I'll go to the Explorer, go realdefi.com.
Yeah.
No thanks. And this is Go Real DeFi is the RH Max, website, which is a great website. I
Yeah.
mean,
Go.
I generally like running the code locally, but when you
Mm.
need something, that's the
Yeah, that's a
one of the
nice.
best places to
You
go.
just know all the links there are safe and stuff. Just looking at some of the
Incentive.
questions, Coneborgs. Yeah, the OA gets half if someone ES is like the OA gets half the penalties, and all the other stakers get half the penalties. So the OA can blitz his Quattro Cincos. The next day, everyone gets a ton of the penalties from that ES, and
Yep.
that hex is liquid, and so it's yeah, it just raises the inflation for everybody else. And in terms of whether I don't think RH would be in South America. Where did he get scammed? Was it Panama? He got
Mm.
he got someone had like these people broke into his house and like robbed him and under at gunpoint and shit. It's like you can find a story somewhere of him talking about it. It's kind of crazy, but I don't think he really likes that area of the world. I'm not sure why you'd say those countries either.
Do we know what the RH tweet is?
Yeah, I just looked at it. He's just saying SBF tweeted. SBF tweets and then the market crashes. He's got a picture of the market, so you just
Isn't
see
SBF in jail for like 10 years or something?
Yeah, but Ross Ulbricht has been tweeting. I don't know how. We can look up. What's his name? Maybe SBF just comes.
Sam Bankman-Fried.
Yeah. Oh, there we go. Yeah, 8 hours ago. Oh wow. He's got a whole thread going here. Do you want me to read it out to you?
Oh, I saw a bit of it. To be honest, I started reading it and I wasn't really interested. I'm like, what the fuck is it? This guy is like legit crypto scammer. Like,
he's in jail.
Yeah, he's in jail. Like, I actually have a lot of time for like. I know that people. I don't think Ross Ulbricht deserved to be in jail for 10 years. You know.
Obviously, yeah.
Yeah, but this guy, what he did had nothing to do with crypto. What he did had nothing to do with crypto, dude. Nothing to do with crypto. He just like was scamming money and just not doing the right thing. Like knew that he wasn't doing the right thing. Purposely not doing the right thing.
I wonder though. I think he had a handler. And he was an older guy, and that older guy kind of just walked away scot-free. I can't remember what his name was, and I always thought you didn't come up with all of this yourself. Like someone has led you down this garden path. Like I just thought he was a bit of a fall guy. Like obviously he's he did a whole lot of corruption.
Very possible, but very possible, man. What am I looking at on this thing though?
Go to the
contract.
The contract. Yep.
Read contract.
Let's go to.
I'll look at the code.
Read. See what things. What functions. There's all sorts of shit you can read from this one, hey?
Just see what it says.
And maybe the right contract. Go, like maybe in another tab, just open right contract. Look all the shit you can do.
Balance of.
There's all sorts of stuff.
Oh yeah, there'll be all sorts of stuff. Balance of, if we want to see what a particular address has.
Yeah, but that's not the interesting stuff. The interesting
current
stuff
votes,
is
delegates.
Well, there's a ton of voting on it.
Get prior votes. Yeah. So why are we here again?
This is the Inc. contract, right?
Yeah.
So I'm just saying that like what he's done is he's started off the inflation rate at a certain amount. He's dropped that by 95%. Then he's dropped it by another percent, and then another percent, then another percent. And it's like down to like 3 or something now. And
it's a 33rd.33 of what it was, which essentially means it now takes 33.33 seconds for one to be emitted.
Yeah. So
as opposed to one per second.
Yeah.
So this is the right contract here. So this is all the stuff you can approve, burn from, decrease allowance, mint, permit, renounce ownership, transfer. Yeah, I don't know, dude. But like, why? What's the?
My point is, right, there's all sorts of other stuff that you can do with this contract. Like he's given himself this, and because ink is the glue that's holding this whole kind of thing together in a way, like it's just very interesting. It's like watching someone play a game, you know? And
And I think it's worth like pointing out here that 0.21% of no, what are we looking at? No, I was looking at PLSX.
oh, you're just looking at that ratio.
PLSX.
I mean, that's PLS. It's going to head up to be in parity for sure.
No,
Or
I
even
was just looking at this burned amount. It's like 1.28 trillion has been burned.
yeah, it's something
It's
like
almost
6 or 7%, I think.
no, it's 0.9%.
What about without the? Can you do without the OA or whatever? Is that
Exclude the OA.
yeah?
Oh
Now
yeah,
what is?
without the OA. Oh man, it's almost 6.5%. Yo, that's significant. That is
You know when?
significant.
So yeah.
Dude, it makes me so sad looking at the hex price at 1 cent. But at the same time, congrats to all the people who got their paychecks and have been waiting to DCA. You guys just got like lucky and you got a good price. You got a good price right there. So kudos to you. It does make me sad to see that price again, but you know, I I hope it doesn't go under. That's demoralizing for everyone.
Hey, I've got to tell you, and I mean, I've told you before, but I want to talk about it on stream a little bit. I had so much fun, like setting up a Zolana validator, an X1 validator. It's a really, really good process to go through, I think.
What is Zolana? What are you talking about?
Oh, this is Jack.
Because like everyone knows that the golden bull doesn't really fuck with anything outside the RH ecosystem. So if it's DeFi,
Yeah, this is not the RH ecosystem. This is the Jack 11 ecosystem.
So
if you want to,
I'm always open. I've always got open ears for DeFi. If it's DeFi, so
it's absolutely
if it's DeFi, I'll listen. I'll always listen if it's DeFi. You know, I may not like, you know, go out and spend any money or anything, but I'm always, if it's DeFi, I'm like, oh, okay, like I'm interested to hear. It was because that whole Zen thing was an experiment in the idea was the narrative, or the idea was the fair launch narrative. Like, what if you just like do something that anyone can just mint by using gas, right? For a transaction, and then they can just mint it. So that was the narrative of, hey, what could be more fair launch than this, right? Now, has it worked out?
Yes.
Is there a good chart?
And so, yeah, well, hang on. What are your criteria for working out?
Well, has it ever had like a good like, it's been around for a while. Has it ever had a good pump? And I don't mean like a pump for ants. I mean a good, decent, like extended 3 or 4 months of just like all-time highs and everyone euphoric and stuff, or has it just always been down? And you know, what's the like, because there's the DeFi side of it, right? But then, you know, for something like, for example, there was the Alti thing that happened, which was also DeFi stuff, and it just didn't work out. And maybe it will work out in the future. You know, maybe it works out in the future. I don't know. I'm not really, you know, I'm not involved. So I mean, anyway, I'm gonna let you talk. I've talked enough. As you can tell from what I've said, I'm dubious, always dubious. But go for it, mate. Tell me.
Well, I mean, you know, I'm just, I mean, you can bring up the chart for Zen if you want to have a look. I mean, the thing is, there's how many Zens are there as well? Like, what these guys, I mean, I'm not sure how much you know the story. I mean, they launched on, like, you know, 11 or 12 different chains. right?
Okay.
So one of the reasons they did that was they wanted to see how decentralized all of these chains really are. So there was chains that censored them. There were
Yep.
chains that couldn't
Which chain
handle.
censored them?
I think it was Phantom.
Did they launch on? Did
Or
they launch on Solana?
maybe it was Opzen. I'm not. No, maybe
Op-
no, that's a good one. I'm
Optimism.
not sure, man. I can't remember. I
Did
mean,
they
you
launch on
can bring
Pulse?
up. Yeah. It's on Pulse Chain.
I have not heard anyone talking about it on Pulse. Like no
There's
one.
actually two on Pulse Chain because there was like Zen over on Ethereum when Pulse Chain happened. There's all these what they're calling OG Zen over on Pulse Chain, but then they
How do you
actually
guys even
launched
have a community? Like, this is a legit question. Hex,
yeah.
like, look what happened to Hex when Hex forked to Pulse Chain. Look what happened with the community and like Hex on Ethereum, Hex on Pulse Chain, and how like that fractured, a segment of the community. Some of us
Listen, I'm telling you,
didn't.
the reason I'm telling you about this is because I found it really interesting learning how to run a validator and how to do it all. I'm not trying to sell you on getting into Zen or whatever. Like, you do whatever the fuck you want. I mean, it's got tokenomics to it. Like Zen's like a more of a long-term play probably, but there's all sorts of things we could talk about, because once this other chain is launched, there's all sorts of, like if you want to talk about market play and just wanting to become rich, then I have no idea whether Zen's a good play or not, to be perfectly honest. It's definitely interesting, and I'm definitely,
So what?
like
How was the
playing.
validator setting up? Tell me about that. Like, because that seems like it was like
So
I think it sounds like you enjoyed learning about that.
yeah, it was really good because it got me into this thing of like learning. I learned how to learn. So yeah, you have to use command line interface. And you have to have quite a powerful computer. And so I hired a service. You can hire a server somewhere. The server that you hire costs about $150 a month. And there's a really interesting comparison, like between all of the different
So,
chains and how much
so
they
you
actually
just
cost for a validator. Anyway,
so you just SSH into it, or you like what?
yeah, SSH into it. Yeah, exactly. And from my local, Lappy, and then I just install stuff and run stuff, and I run into problems, and I use like Grok or ChatGPT or one of the LLMs to like work out the solutions to it, and then if I can't work it out with, Grok or whatever, then I'll go into the, and ask someone in the actual kind of Telegram chat, and it's heaps of like going back and forth, and it was just tons of learning, but it was really fun, and I think it's a really good project. Like they basically like put Zen on all of these chains, tested all of these chains, see which ones were censoring, see which ones aren't centralized, see which ones had the best performance. They came across Solana. It was very obvious that Solana kills in terms of performance, like compared to EVMs. Because they have this parallelization. They utilize way more of the, like compute of the CPUs and GPUs basically, right? And whereas it's all sequential in EVM, and so you can do multiple transactions going through. Like you can have 4 threads all going through, so you just get a way faster blockchain. And then they've made improvements on Solana. So some of their improvements actually, they found a couple of bugs, I think, and so they've got a very good relationship with the Solana devs as well. And it was interesting as well going through, like the Phantom people were not at all encouraging in them wanting to fork Phantom, and they actually made some of Phantom, well now it's called Sonic, closed source, so people weren't allowed to fork it or use it, and unless they wrote that new code themselves or whatever, and so but they've been encouraged by the people who run Solana, and so their idea is for a low cost validator, and then getting like they're gonna have these parties where you burn Zen on all of these different chains in order to get the gas token on the new chain Solana and or X1. I gotta get
Okay,
confused. I think
so
Solana
all the releases, it got released on lots of chains, and the idea is to get all now to get all of those players on all of those chains to go to the one chain, to like to burn what they have there and go to the one chain. Is that
but
right?
but that'll be an ongoing thing. So it'll be a constant thing of if you want to get the gas tokens over on X1, you're going to be able to every month they have these what are they going to call moon parties, and so they have a bunch of the gas token, and everyone sends in Zens from all of these different chains, and there's some sort of ratio that sorts the value of comparative the chains or whatever, and then
That sounds
basically
like something that happens in Bali, like a moon party or something.
a moon party, yeah, on a tropical
I
island
think I've been
somewhere.
I think I've been to one or two of them
Have you?
as a younger man
Right. Yeah.
in a
So
past life.
and you know what? I think it's like if anyone is interested in like, and it is a learning curve. Like you have to go on a learning curve, and you have to, at least probably spend $150 a month on a server. But if you want to learn about more about blockchain, because it taught me so much about blockchain and about how it was all how it was structured as well. Because you have to go in and start reading about stuff, and then you make mistakes, you don't understand why, and then you have to actually find out and it was a really beautiful process, and it's something that anyone can do if you want to spend the time doing it, you know. Um,
Yeah. I think you've got to have like you've got to be curious about
yeah,
you know, doing that sort of thing. But that's cool, man. That's cool that you did some,
yeah,
command line
and
stuff and
the other thing is in terms of like how lucrative it might be, they're gonna have to all of these people who are validating before the chain is launched, they're gonna have to highly incentivize them to keep validating after the chain is launched. So I'm not sure how they're going to do it, but I think they're going to make it very worth your while for validators. And so if you want to get into something early, this is like fucking early. And they've got all sorts of other interesting shit happening on. I mean, they're basically nerds. They're basically crypto nerds, those guys. And so they've just built all sorts of crazy kind of like stuff that there's this other token that you can only get by like the proof of work token on. Well, it's not on any chain at the moment, but people are mining it for when X1 is launched, and then it'll be on that. And so that's an interesting. It's like a proof of work token on a chain, on a proof of stake chain.
a proof of work. How does that work? How does a proof of
So
work
you
token?
look for basically the proof of work is looking for um, what are the numbers like 69 and 420 or 420 69. So basically is like you want to find that in a hash, right? The ones that are 420 are worth so much. The ones that are 420 69 are worth more. Yeah, I think that's the XNM and
Mm.
ones. Look, I can't remember how they do it, but like, um, so then you get these GPUs to run basically hashes and of a certain um, like SHA or whatever. I'm not sure which they use one that's I can't remember which one they use, but they use one and there's a very specific reason why they use it. That's what I remember. And so it's basically like you just you hire like computers, GPUs, to search for this hash, and then once you've got it, you've got that token.
Hmm. Okay.
And it's
So it's
actually
like
you're actually merge mining because you're actually getting three different tokens.
see, it's
Like you
just virtualizing the process of mining. You're doing it with a virtual machine, yeah.
Well, you're doing that. You're hiring the GPU, so it's a real machine that you're hiring. But yeah, you're just doing it on like you just go to like I can't remember which one of those companies, and you can hire these GPUs. Different. You hire different computers, and you get you can muck around and find out which are the best ones to use and all that kind of stuff. And the difficulty is like halves every year or something, and so it's got an inflation rate that's going down, and
I was at, dude,
yeah.
just to shift gears for a moment. I was at, this just reminded me, I don't know why it reminded me, but I was just at a training session this afternoon for one of my kids, and one of the parents was asking me questions about crypto, like asking me about like the early days of Bitcoin and stuff, and whether I was into it. And I said to him, if I had been into Bitcoin early and had the strength to hold, I probably wouldn't be driving my kid around right now.
Yes, you would. Of course, you fucking would, dude. How like, well, you have a
No,
driver to do it.
you'd have a driver to do it. I wouldn't be the chauffeur. Is my point.
You get a pleasure out of driving your kids to places. I'm sure. I know you. Like, you don't want to give that up.
That's actually, you're right. That it is. It's all right. Throw a bit of music on.
Yeah.
I get to like he gets to. We sort of will do something where he will. I'll listen to one of his songs, and then he'll listen to one of my old school songs.
Nice. Beautiful. What does he listen to? What do kids listen to?
My kid is at the moment, well, in recent weeks, has been listening to AI generated music about Sonic the Hedgehog. And it's good, bro.
Really?
I don't even know if it's AI music. It's good. It's good. It's when I say it's good, it's not. I shouldn't say it's good. It's not terrible. Like it's
Where does he
it's
find?
not. I'm not.
Is this on YouTube or something, or what?
It's just on YouTube Music, I think, or
And so he's not making.
Spotify or whatever.
He's not making
He's not.
anything. He's just finding songs he likes.
He just typed in like AI Sonic or something like that, and stuff came up, and he started listening to it, and he liked it.
Okay, right. So he knows to search for AI. How old is he?
He's
Or vaguely?
it's like 10.
Okay. Wow. What a 10-year-old kid.
I'm trying to get him into AI. I want him to use it.
He hasn't
I
used
want
it?
him to not. He's not that
What's he into?
interested in. He's into playing what, as in just like what of his interests.
Yeah, I know.
Just general 10-year-old kid interests,
Is
mate. Video games, playing
this- yeah,
sports,
right.
not doing chores that he should be doing, like
Right.
just regular, leaving clothes on the ground. Yeah,
Right.
that's his favorite thing, probably, just leaving clothes around the place.
Just making a mess and leaving it. Yeah.
Shitting on his siblings, just all the regular like brother, like all the regular things that kids do,
Yeah. I've no idea. Do today these days, like I've no idea.
No, but you have family, you have like siblings.
Yeah, none around that
So
age. Maybe they are. Yeah. They're just into footy, I think.
no, but when you were a kid, right? When you were 10 years old, like you're just like probably into.
Ride my bike around, just fucking.
We didn't really video game, like there were video games when I was a kid, but it wasn't like.
They haven't like my friends had Ataris when I was like 11 or 12 maybe, and then I got a computer after I was like 13 or 14 or something.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I used to play heaps of video games on that on the Commodore 64. Basically, I just got it for the games.
Yeah. Yep. Like it's similar. Like I didn't get a computer until I was like high school. I had I got I lie. I got a computer, like a tape computer. We got it from Dick
Wow.
Smith Electronics when I was in
Wow.
in
Vic
primary
20?
school. Hey,
A Vic 20?
I don't know what it was, but it was like a tape one where you put
Yeah,
just a cassette
cassette
tape in it to
tape,
load.
hard drive. It's crazy, hey?
It was like it would just load it. So obviously, the computer was just a keyboard that you plugged into your television, right? And
Oh, yeah.
so um it would have it would load. So you'd have the drive, like the drive was like the tape. The
And
tape was the drive.
Hexadelic still has a Vic 20. That's crazy. That's like full antique. Oh, I'd love to play some. The games on the Commodore 64 were the best fucking games. Like, they don't make games as good as that anymore.
Dude, no. This is like you're making
Boomer.
this is
Totally
wrong.
boomer.
This is
Yeah.
wrong what you're saying right now. I'm sorry. I understand what you're saying though. Like I fully understand because the feeling back then, I remember the feeling distinctly of playing games back then, and it was unlike anything. It was like there was awe and anticipation, and it was so exciting to play these shitty little games, these shitty pixelated games. They were so shit, man. If you
Okay,
play them now,
yeah,
bro,
today,
you play them now.
skills.
Dude,
But in
my
terms
Brave
of like,
browser has a better game than like all that shit. My Brave browser, there's a Brave browser game that's just in the browser where you're a dinosaur and you have to like jump over a rock or some shit. Dude, that game is better than anything that was ever on any of those things that we used
but
we
also
used to play.
even the joysticks used to be better, man. Those old Atari joysticks, like they were the best. Like when they got onto those two thumb things, it's like, oh, this is fucked. I don't
Do
know.
you know what it is? It's like when I was in high school, there were like Super Nintendos,
Oh yeah,
right?
that's when it
And
changed.
my mate and I we used to like this is what they remember they used to have video stores. You could go to a video store and rent a Super Nintendo for a night
Oh really?
and a few games. You could just rent them for a night. So we didn't have any Super Nintendo. We'd rent them for a night and we'd play that shit. You know, we'd play Mario.
Thrash within an inch of
Dude,
its life.
oh, but they were pretty sturdy things, man. Like, they were sturdy things. They had cartridges. They weren't like flimsy with tapes or anything. They had cartridges. So at worst you had to like blow on the thing on the inside of the cartridge, like
Yeah,
the
dust off. Yeah,
yeah. And then but that was like Super Mario Kart.
yeah.
Like that was all that stuff, like the first versions of it. And it's funny now, like my kids have like a Switch, play Nintendo, and all the Mario Kart stuff, all that stuff. But you can go and like into and download all the old versions, so you can go play the old versions of like that I
Oh yeah.
used to play when I was growing up. And bro, they suck so bad compared to
Really?
now. Like Mario Kart compared to now, Mario Kart back then compared to now, it sucked so bad compared to how good it is now. Now it is so good. It is so good now. And the one that's out now is like it's already like 3 or 4 years old. So, I think they're coming out with a new Nintendo soon. I think they're coming out with a new one soon.
To be honest, I haven't played a video game in God knows how long. I've no idea what they're like now. Yeah.
I haven't played a good one. I just play the kid with the kids sometimes. We play like the like Super Mario in you can play in up to 4 people in one game. So we just play together and play that game sometimes, and that it's a bit of fun, bit of teamwork, because because there's 3 people playing, and usually my son is like the best player by far. I know how to play. I can get around, but like then, you know, the other kids are a bit younger and they're not as good. So it's like, you know, let's not be too critical of, you know, the ones that the kids who can't do it yet. Let's just like help them along.
Dude, that icon your icon is so fucking powerful. Like it's very good. Like it creates a character. Like you could just speak as exactly as you're speaking now, but just change yourself to be I am the bull that you've all been waiting for or whatever. Like that'd be such a good character. Like like, because you're so understated in your tone of voice and stuff like that. Like that could really work. I don't know. Theatrically,
What do you want me to change what do you want me to change?
just speak instead of speaking as OG43, speak as the Golden Bull. And so,
Oh,
yeah.
you want me to play a character?
Yeah.
Oh.
That's perfect. That's perfect. What reaction? How does it fucking tune into your mouth movements? That's AI, I suppose.
Okay, so it's really do you want me to explain how it's done? How I did it?
Actually, no, I don't want to. I couldn't be asked. I can imagine it's some computery shit. So that's what it is, basically.
It's actually really simple, right?
Is it part of Restream you've got this, or is this something else you've put onto
this is OBS in the background, so this is coming from OBS. But basically, it's real. I'll explain it in like 20 seconds, really quickly. It's two images that are exactly the same, apart from the snout of one of the images being open, with the mouth open, and the other image with the mouth closed, right? So all that's happening is I've created like a filter that checks on whether there's audio coming in the mic, and if there's audio coming in the mic, it will flip. It will automatically flip to the other image. So from your perspective, it looks like just the snout is moving and the bull is talking.
Yeah.
However, in reality, it's two images that are flipping back and forth as the. So moo.
Yeah. And so is that something that you actually made, or
Yeah,
is this something
I made it from scratch.
That's impressive.
So what I did is I generated the bull in AI. Like I just made an image of a bull, and then I went and edited. Like I made a copy of the image and edited the nose and mouth to be open, and then I put it in. I found that ring. See that ring there? And it was different colors, so I changed the hue, like in Photoshop, to make it colors that were more like hex. And yeah, there's just something that that's
simple but very effective, man.
Yeah, thanks, man.
I want to kind of make one for myself.
Do you want to? I'll help you if you want, man.
Yeah, maybe I'll be a bear.
that would be funny, actually. That would work.
Yeah.
Talking crypto bull and bear.
Yeah. Just having little crypto discussions. you can be all really like we can play the opposite. So you'd be really, really depressive, and I'll be really like optimistic. Or maybe the other way around.
Man, I'm optimistic. Like I know it's death and destruction.
I'm optimistic as well, man. Like because basically
I just think it's too early.
Basically, the strategy.
I want to see.
Wait until fucking something happens. I don't care if it's a year or 2 years, a decade, a month, whatever. I'm just going to keep waiting.
Yeah. I mean, it depends if like how bearish are people out there. Like, do they think that Ethereum? I mean, Ethereum has taken quite a shit actually. So let's just look at Ethereum. Yeah. Ethereum is 2,400. I mean, look at that chart in the last 7 days. It's horrendous. $2,395. Let's go for the last year. It's just been all over the place. It got up to 4,000 in March 2024, and it sort of was just in that high 3,000 mark, and then dropped down to like 2,000, like to where we are right now, pretty much, and then went back up to 4,000 in December, and it's it's just up, down, up, down, up, down, like a swinging trader's dream. Think about it. Like it is a swing
Yeah,
trader's dream.
wait a really long time.
Ethereum in the last year, yeah. Like if you I mean, if you had that sort of foresight, but who would? Like, I mean, I guess if you, the thing is, on the last one, the last time it got to 4,000 in December, who thought it was good? Like, if you'd asked someone in December, oh, yeah, we're at 4,000, like Ethereum, would you like make the bet? Would you short Ethereum down to 2,500? Like, would you do that? Like, as if anyone would do that, right? But maybe, I mean, I don't know. Who know, or maybe the market is getting I just it's just hard to understand why it's going down so much. And do you think it goes back to, do you think the explanation lies in what RH tweeted a while back about inflation and layer twos, and they've got like it's their blob space or whatever is too cheap?
I mean, that's what everyone's kind of saying, that, and it seems to be that, like they wanted cheaper fees on Ethereum, and so they spread all of their usage out to all of these L2s, and then they're also got really good deals, these L2s, with the Ethereum Foundation. I'm not sure how that all works, but like there's some sort of financial remuneration that's at a big advantage for these L2s, I think is happening. And so, yeah, all the money's just been drained onto these L2s, which are all fucking like not decentralized at all. Like they're all just relayers and shit, like one person's server. And so, what a dumb
It
move
begs
by.
the question. Yeah, it begs the. I mean, I think the idea was that they're going to get better, right? But they're too like.
Well,
I
I
just
thought
don't
they thought they
understand
would keep
why.
growing. They thought that the L2s would fill up, and then people would still be like using the base layer, But obviously, people are not needing that base layer, and so they don't. I don't know. It's just. But
But wait,
Sol's about.
like
Look, it feels like
way
Sol's about
to.
to jump as well.
It does,
Like,
it's what?
well, it feels like Sol's about to go down as well. Maybe, I don't know. It's gonna be very interesting this year. It is very surprising that we've started off with two red months. That's been surprising.
Yep.
I would have thought we were primed and people were just like ready. But yeah, always more
Do
people.
do you think like you're still pretty involved in the Hex sort of pulse chain community, aren't you? As far as like observing, at least observing from a distance, if nothing else.
I watch Somi
Um,
a lot. I watch Somi a lot, and I like
do you
and
think
I'm still
there's a lot of people who are very critical of RH's move to buy ETH at 3,700 or wherever it was? They're
I was
very
looking like,
critical of that. Like,
well, like
what are your thoughts on that? You know,
I think he was trying to time it, and it was like normally that would have been a time to pump. The business cycle ISM or whatever was coming up, and it looked like it was about to go back up, and so he thought he was timing, but then it just kind of the business confidence went back down, and it just kind of it didn't have that big increase. So he kind of missed it, and so then obviously we had this big Ethereum bear, which no one has been predicting. I mean, I don't know, man. It's really hard to make any judgments on his moves because we don't have the full story of what he can and can't do and what his ideas are and what his plan is. Like that's part of
We
it. We've
we
just got to
also
let it.
don't know what the motivation was behind it at that time. Like there might have been
On how things
there might have
change.
been some sort of
How much of it is like,
legal.
oh,
There
try
could have
doing
been
this.
some legal or tax. There could have been some legal or tax reason for it at that time that it needed to
Yeah,
happen.
I mean, I think he would have sheltered himself so super well legally at the start. That's what it sounds like. That they're not going to get anywhere near him, and um, so I don't know if it would have been legal, especially since also he's like we haven't had a judgment, but he's making all of these like moves or whatever, like releasing
Well,
public
I think
affairs.
Trump. I think, seeing that there was a
The
Trump
Trump
coin,
investment.
a
Yeah,
Melania coin, and like all of that. I think that emboldened. I think that has sort of taken the weight away or the pressure off from that sort of regulatory angle. Uh, so I think that has maybe contributed to why a lot of this stuff has happened since then.
she's really
After
late. She's super late with the judgment. Hey, like they say 60 to 90 days, and it's been like over 100. Yeah, over 115 probably.
dude, it's almost 120.
Almost 120 days. Like what doesn't seem that complicated either. Like what's going on? Something's going on, isn't it, in the background? God, there's so much we don't know.
Well, I asked Nuclear Herbs on Twitter the question, and he responded by saying that he doesn't know, but it's quite possible that they've been like negotiating. Both sides have been negotiating the whole way through, and it could be now that and this is just me adding this in now, what I think based on what Nuclear Herbs wrote. It could be them just now, uh, because of what's happened with the new administration, and that's a very important point. Like, there's a new administration, and they're very anti SEC. This administration is anti SEC using
Enforcement. Regulation by enforcement. Yeah.
regulation by exactly. So they've fired 50 SEC lawyers, or they've
Or the
moved them into some.
they moved him from crypto into other cases, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, but they're not in. Yeah, so they're not on crypto anymore. So crypto has just, and now we're starting to see different things getting settled, or
Yeah,
cases dropped left, right, and
Coinbase.
center.
They dropped Coinbase. They dropped what else? They just dropped another one, didn't they? I think.
I think so. So it's, to me, I mean, could it be that maybe this judge is like just taking it easy? It's like, why the fuck should I go and spend all this time and effort? Like, she's probably got plenty of other cases that she has to
It's gonna
attend
get
to.
dropped anyway.
Why am I going to spend? I've got no deadline. Why am I going to spend all this time if they're close to, like, they've probably been informed that they're close to some sort of settlement or something, whether or not that shows up on the court's record or whatever, or maybe it's just something that has been passed on, just on a more of a just a on the basis, like just a phone call or something like that, rather than being so formal.
Non-official basis.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, like not.
But I just don't know enough about the system,
Yeah,
how it would
yeah, but
work.
but wouldn't you
I would
wouldn't
have
you
thought
think
like
that
you had a
if
whole
both
fucking
sides
you had a
if
case,
both
you heard
sides have agreed in principle, like imagine both sides have agreed in principle, okay, we want this to go away. You haven't, like, we agree that you shouldn't be sanctioned in any way. Um, Yeah. Well, like, do you agree? Like that's maybe like because they're coming to some sort of agreement that the judge is just
I've got
chilling
no
out.
idea.
Like,
I don't even know how to even like guess that. Like to me, it's like you went through all this trouble. It fucking took forever to
but that was
schedule
a
it.
different administration.
Hang
Different
on,
administration.
hang on, hang on. No, hang on. You're a judge. You have this case come up. You take all this time to schedule it and everything like that. Finally, it fucking happens. You hear everybody's things. You ask questions. She asked great questions. I have a lot of confidence in her decision because of how she sounded in the questions that she asked and what she said in that courtroom. So I have a lot of confidence in what she's going to return. But like, if you've had over the amount of time now, like you have a job, like it's also like do your fucking job, like.
Dude, but you just bear in mind, she could be getting fucking, what are they called? Kidney stones out or some shit. I don't know. Like she could have some. What I'm saying is she could just like have
the
like
reasons you're saying why it's late.
she could be in hospital or some shit for all we know. Like,
we don't know.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
I have no idea if it's laziness or if it's other stuff.
I don't think it's laziness, man.
Well,
She's dude. Did you hang on? Okay, maybe. All right. Okay, but as someone who listened in on that, to the
sound like a lazy
transcript.
person. No, she doesn't. She sounded like
she sounded like an inquisitive person who wanted to get to the bottom of this shit, and like,
which is why it's weird that we haven't had the decision yet.
And unless I'm just saying, there's so many possible things. Like, you don't know. Maybe her husband died. Those sorts of things would not be on the record, like on the court's record, and nor would it be anyone's business. I hope that's not the case, by the way. Touch wood. I don't wish that sort of shit on anyone. I hope that I hope she's well.
Of course, yeah.
The point is that it's so easy to be something that like no one's considering. Like it could just be like, what if she was in hospital for 6 weeks, man? No one would know. Like you wouldn't know that.
Yeah, I have no idea. If we would know that.
And what if she slipped and like broke her leg, and she's having like she was in a car accident and she's just having like there's so many like possible things.
We know she was dead, surely.
I'm pretty sure we'd know that.
Yeah, I think we'd know if she was in a major car accident. I don't know. I'm not sure how that reporting would get to us, but
not necessarily. Not necessarily.
Why would you?
Why would you know? But why would you? I don't know if you would know that. Like,
did you have any social media presence?
I doubt it, man. Anything? On MySpace.
Let's go and mess her on Facebook.
I like this. Judge Amon didn't reply to Elon's email.
Elon's like,
she was probably on a date with Richard. Ugh. I don't want to think about that.
Where do you reckon he is in the world? Like, where he says he's really safe. Where would the safest place in the world be?
For him?
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Let's just let sleeping dogs lie. I don't even want to like just I hope he's safe, and I don't even want to like speculate on where I just hope he's safe and the dude's doing well. I hope he's happy and he's doing good stuff, man. Like, everything will turn up. Everything will turn up soon. Everything will be good soon.
Yeah, right.
Homeborg says Russia. Hexagon, here we go. Like everyone's going to put their 2 cents in now. Dubai, Hexagon Lost in Asia says Dubai. Coneborg says Russia.
What is it? Is Dubai not have an extradition treaty with the US or something?
But it's not the US that wants to extradite him. No, the US does not want to do that. That was a
I know.
Finland thing. The
No, I
Interpol
know.
thing was Finland,
I know. So okay, so how do you
and
be
that's
safe?
can I
How do
just
you be
say that
safe
whole thing?
from the Finnish
The
government?
Interpol thing is so
Country with
sketchy, man.
yeah,
That
dude, isn't
Interpol thing is so
fucking
sketchy.
it's so dodge, hey? Yeah,
It's so
so
sketchy.
dodgy,
It's like
man.
there's no official documents. You got to go ask this one, like there's one cop or investigator that you have to go ask for any info on it. It's so sketchy, man. And then he just turns up on Interpol like as if it was something like legit. It's sketchy as. Talk about
Mm.
tarnishing someone's name like unfairly, you know?
Yeah. Mr. Crypto J made a very good point. Maybe he swapped over back into ETH because DAI is potentially censorable.
Oh, they're gonna that's Die
I
will
don't think
be
I don't think
Die's
DAI is
turning. No, this is what's happening with Die. They're changing it into. I think they're changing it into something else called Sky,
that's right, yeah.
and
And
then
is that
that will be censorable.
so the
So
contract
maybe
is using the same contract, but it's now that is going to call it something different.
I'm not sure exactly the finer details of it, but I understood that it was going to be censorable, and maybe quite maybe because it was like I don't remember any detail about when that was happening. Maybe he just thought, hey, this makes no sense to stay here in Die, and he just got out. And look, in reality, how far are we down from 3,700?
Oh, so he's like 50% down or something.
What?
Was it 30? He got in at 3,800, and now we're we're 2,400. So
So like 35%, right?
is it, yeah, or 40% or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, I think 35% roughly, like 35 to 40% down, which is like, you know, big, like, it's so what, man? Like, I understand, like, people like
Look at
crying.
he's set up this fucking board game where he gets to like do things. That's part of the pieces, basically.
Yeah. So what's this? But RH can still mix ETH. Okay.
There's all
What,
sorts of shit he probably
as in a
do.
mixer?
Look, we've been seeing him do his thing. We're only going to know, and we're going to not know like what his intentions are. It's all going to be like we have to look back in retrospect what happened.
Do you know what's going to be funny? Like in hindsight, whenever it all plays out, everyone's going to be like, "Oh man, of course he was going to do this," or of course this was going to happen." You know?
I'll love it if he fucking pegs Pete Eye. That's such a fucking hilarious narrative, man. Like people just won't be able to wrap their heads around it if that works. If
Yeah.
that's what his plan is, or one of his plans.
You reckon that's his plan?
It makes sense. That's the thing.
Doesn't make sense to me though, man. Doesn't make sense to me. No,
Really, it
no,
makes.
I'm not shitting. I hope. Look, for all the people who invested in it,
Don't
I
worry,
hope
don't,
the
you don't have
shit
to
works out for
apologize
everybody.
to anything. Just say whatever the fuck you want, man. Don't worry about
All
it.
right,
Just
let me
have
say
the
it then.
fucking.
I don't think because there's no everything has been. This is how it comes across to me. It seems like everyone just was trying to, like, link everything together. Like, oh, look at this and look at this and look at this. But then there's like all the opportunities that he had to like prove that that was going to happen, and he's had plenty. None of them have actually, like, all the voting stuff. None of them have like happened. Um, and then he came out and created like a P die in pumped up tires. Like, why the fuck would you do that? If you know what I mean? Like, why the fuck would you do that? Didn't he do that shit? I thought I
How do
heard
we know
someone
he
say he
did?
did that.
How you don't know if he did it?
I thought it
But
was
anyway,
him.
nah, yeah, okay, you feel it was him, great. But like, listen, um, I think that there's good evidence that it is him. Mainly that it has accrued so much fucking value on his chain, and he's never said anything about it except like, oh, look at this Peter thing, kind of thing. Like this copy is like getting so much value, and like he's only tried to sell it to people. And but really, like it's worth a ton. It's worth more than, is it worth more than like Pulse or anything, or Hex or something? Like it's worth maybe not that much, but it's worth a lot, and it's getting up there. And so I wouldn't be surprised if he's behind it. Um, I tried to look
So,
into all of the
what I don't get.
hang on. I tried to look into all of the wallets and everything like that. But you just in the end you just don't know. Like maybe that's a wallet he's using and he's just making it look like it's not his wallet.
Why? I just don't understand. Like, please explain to me why,
Mm.
if he's
But hang
got
on.
a way of pegging and essentially making a whole bunch of people who bought shitloads of it for really, really cheap, making them really fucking wealthy. Like, if he can do that, why would he do that instead of just doing it with fucking Hex or Pulse? Like,
Because
why would
okay,
he
so
do this like thing? Why would he
because
like?
none of
That's what I
I'll
don't
tell
get.
you. I'll tell
Like, I
you.
don't
Shut
get
up for a
it.
second. I'll tell you. I'll tell you. This is why it made a lot more sense to me. It was because at the times of the Pulse and Pulse X sacrifices, when the OA came in at the end and like scooped up 90% of the supply for each one of those, I was like, why does he need the fucking 90% of the supply for the Pulse and Pulse X? And I know they've got that whole narrative of like, strong centralized thing, but I didn't understand. I could understand for Hex, I couldn't understand for Pulse, but then I got to maybe understand for Pulse. I just definitely didn't understand for Pulse X. Now that makes sense because he's got so much. He's got all of this asset which is completely useless, except in terms of being able to like lock it up for a fucking stable coin.
But what
Like,
about all those people he would make super rich who could just come in and dump it on Ethereum? Like, there's all these big
but that's
holders
why
on
he's not doing it.
Ethereum.
That's not why he hasn't done it too fast. He wants all of those people who are holding it at the moment, who are over on Ethereum, who don't give a shit about Pulse Chain. He wants them to come over and claim it, and so he needs the price to go up slowly, and then for them to hear about, oh, I've got an extra fucking 10% over there, or whatever it is. At the moment it's probably only like 1% or whatever, but like as soon as you start getting up to 20%, like if you had a nice big fucking bag, you're gonna go in and try to dump it. I think he wants that to happen over time. Like,
It's going to take a
maybe
long time, bro.
it's like that's the thing is we're guessing on his gameplay. Like we have no idea. It's all pure speculation about.
I don't think he has anything to do with it, man.
I think there's a chance that
There's a chance.
yeah,
Don't get me
exactly.
wrong. I'm
And
not
so
saying categorically he doesn't have anything to do with it.
what
I don't
percentage
know.
what
It's
percentage
very
chance
important.
what percentage chance would you give it?
20.
20% chance.
Yep. 80% chance it's
It's
not
not
him.
him.
20% chance it could be him. Like, that's how much certainty I have. I don't have much certainty. Like, I don't fucking know.
Yeah. No, that's
You know.
fair actually. I'd say that's fair.
What do you reckon? What's your percentage?
Well, when you say that, it sounded right to me. So then after I heard that, I was thinking, oh, maybe I'd be a bit more optimistic than you, so maybe 30%. But
Okay, so you're fairly like not like you think it's a possibility, but you're not like really
I'm not convinced by any
married
means.
to the idea at all,
Not at all. No, no. I mean, I think it's more likely that it's not him than it is him. But I still think that there's a good, like maybe even up to 40, 50% chance it is him. Maybe it's only
I
30. I don't know.
yes,
It's hard
but
to tell.
there's a
But it's
comment, Miss Crypto JSY is
Mr. Crypto.
saying that Mr. Crypto, sorry. My apologies. um, is saying the AMM literally picked up, yeah, in the liquidity pools, but not the ones in people's wallets. So anyone who had like who had DAI in their wallet at the time of the fork on Ethereum, they will retain all of that. Like, and there's nothing that the AMM bot can do about that. It's only the liquidity pool stuff that it could take. You know, so
You
you
know
got to
what's
remember,
interesting?
like you're making all these. Like, I just don't get why he wouldn't just start from scratch with it. Like, if you want to do it, why do it so messily? Like, why not just start from scratch?
Yeah, that's a good point. I don't know. I don't know.
And why not use like why not tweak some of these
Well, okay, so
like
this is what's interesting. This is what's interesting. So Fast Abdul just released another liquidity fork for
for
ink
ink?
to
Yes.
make a stable coin for ink. And I was listening to him, and he was like, it's a 34th fork of liquidity. Like that shit works, whatever that contract is, right? Now I'm just thinking,
Uh
what an interesting.
yeah. It's can I throw in my 2 cents here?
Well, hang on,
You can get you
let
can
me
get
just.
it works. It doesn't you can, people can't say it doesn't work. It works, but there's a big but.
You need a good
You can
oracle,
get you can get claimed against really when you don't expect to be.
right? Because if you're at the bottom of the list or whatever, even if you've got
It's not
heaps.
e it's not even that. It's like there's something about it that like when there isn't like a lot like do you know Jexa? I need Jexa to explain this.
Right.
Jexa was telling me about it once, and I was just like, "Oh shit!" Like, because I thought I like there was something about it that just didn't. He was just like, "Oh, it just doesn't pass. It's not good enough yet," or something along those lines. I've got to ask him. You know, I'm butchering whatever he said. I'm butchering it. I need to ask him what he said about it. There was something that he wasn't happy about because he was messing around with it, or he had messed around, or someone he knew had messed around with it. And just you don't like something about you weren't expecting it, and then you get
I
redeemed
mean,
against, and you don't like you
yeah,
don't
I've no
have your.
idea what. Yeah, I'm not. We don't really. We shouldn't talk about it if we don't know what the criticism is. But
But I
like
need to look into that.
my point is right. He was saying this is the 34th fork of liquidity, right? So people have done this liquidity fork in all sorts of on all sorts of different tokens, and I was just thinking that could be the next new thing that just everyone fucking turns their own coin into a stable coin. And I was thinking, what's to stop someone from turning PulseX into a and then creating a stable coin? What's to stop like Pulse being turned into a stable coin through through a liquidity thing?
Pulse, it is. It already has been.
I suppose that's liquid loans, hey? Yeah, right.
That's liquid
Okay.
loans.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
there's a PulseX version of it as well,
Oh,
but
really?
not
You can
liquid
look at
loans.
Pulse
Yeah,
as well.
dude,
Ah,
there is a Pulse version, a Pulse X version, a Hex version, and an
ah,
Ink version now. All of them
right.
have their own. Now, can you imagine if they like all had like their own stable coins, and then all those stable coins were,
Well,
which
you
is, I guess,
basically you can just you can look up anything, can't you?
I need to
It's
think more
interesting.
deeply about that. That could be
I've got
dangerous,
to
actually.
think about it as
Having all
well.
the stable coins, having all the stable coins in the liquidity pool could like be
How do they
dangerous.
ensure that the peg remains pegged? Oh, I couldn't be asked getting into all this. This is fucking stablecoins are so boring.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we don't need to display
I don't want
our
to.
ignorance. You know,
Yeah, we don't need
we
to.
can just we can quite easily just ask someone like one of the many people we know in
Yeah,
the you know in this community who understands this stuff. We can ask any of them to come on at any time, and I'm sure that they'll come on and explain exactly what's going on in every part of that contract. I
yeah.
remember, you know what's funny? There's so much stuff going on in crypto. I remember knowing this inside out about a year and a half ago. I knew this inside out. I knew all of this shit,
Dude,
like about all
like
these.
we forget things so quickly. Like I was trying to think of some stuff to do with hex the other day, and I was like, how does this fucking work? How does that work? And it was stuff that we were like so used to be so we were so
Do you
onto it.
remember what
And
it was? I might know it still, man. I might know it still.
I can't remember. I can't remember what I was thinking at the time. It was something to do with share rates and like I can't remember.
Yeah. But dude, the share rate, I was thinking about this the other day. I was looking at it. I might just bring it up now because this is what I was actually looking at. The share rate. Yeah, here. This is what I was looking at, dude. I was looking at this this site, the Apex site, and this doesn't go all the way back to 2020, but like we went from 10,000 to 41,000 hex per T share, right? From
Yeah.
10,000 to 41,000 in the course of 5 years. Right, so that's 30,000, and there was like the big payday blip, which like sent it up about I think 5, 6, 7,000 in one day. So it's sort of like apart from that, it went up like about 23,000, 24,000 in that time.
Yeah.
So how long will it take another 23, 24,000? So it's 41. So 23, 24,000. That takes us to 65. About 65. We're looking at about, when is that? It's 29, January 2029. In about, so in about another 4 years.
There's a few little step ups there. Looking at
Yeah,
that.
and it's usually around that December time, mate. That's when those things come out. All those remember when like remember how there was like all those stakes in like November, December every year?
Yeah.
And that's what those blips are every
Can we
year.
look at like what supply is coming out when? Have we got? Because you can't. There's no hex.live anymore, is there?
It's this.
Oh, okay.
But
What
this
site is
doesn't, it's not, this is apphex.win, but the resolution I get here is not great. Do you know who? I wonder if I go to, and
that?
I'd have
Toggle
to
it?
dig. Hey,
You can't toggle it. Man, let
there's
me have a
this
look.
site here. This site here is, I don't know,
It
stakes,
used to be that
staking.
awesome site.
What's that?
It used to be that awesome site. Oh, here we go. Hex charts.
This is hexbase.de, what I'm looking at right now. Awesome site by Ben Sierra. I don't know, like there's so much info here. I don't even know where I'd look. I'd need to do some research beforehand. Was there a website you wanted me to look at, dude?
No. I've actually got to go get something to eat soon. Actually,
Yeah, I was just looking at the time myself, man. Hey, dude, that's been a good stream.
I'm just looking at that. That's actually that chart of future supply. That needs. Be great if we could actually play with that. Like in more ways.
Hex.vision used to have that, remember?
Yeah, that's right. Hex.vision. Yeah.
I don't even know if that site still exists.
No, I don't think
I
it
don't think it.
does.
Yeah, no, no.
That's what Alex wanted to replace. Yeah, no. Oh, they
Yep.
fully rugged. They didn't even they didn't keep the Hex.vision going.
Well, I mean, dude, like honestly, that shit is not free. Like you have to
Yeah,
maintain it.
a ton. Wait a minute. Anyway, it doesn't
What's
matter.
that?
Well, I mean, how much? It doesn't cost that much to fucking keep it going. Like, I mean, compared to how much they would have made off stuff. That's not. That's got none of my business anyway. I got to go, bro.
Yeah, man, it's been good. Yeah, we should do it again very soon.
Yeah. Let's do that. Yeah, for sure.
And thanks for telling me about all the stuff you've been all the stuff you've been playing around with, all that. It's interesting. It's
If anyone,
interesting. I mean,
if anyone is interested in becoming a validator and how to do it, I actually did it for Avalanche back in the day, and it turned out to be very, very lucrative for me. And
did you ever do it for Pulse? Have you ever done it for Pulse?
No, I haven't. I looked a little bit into it, and I just basically looked at how automated they've got it set up. So,
Yeah.
um,
Have you ever considered what
how much is
you
it?
know?
How
Did
much?
you know?
Well, this is interesting. How much is a pulse validator? How much does it cost to hire a pulse validator?
I think it does about 7%. Does
How
about
much?
7-8%.
If you want to hire us, if you need to hire a server. I think you can hire one from David
No,
Fair.
no. This is the thing. Listen to this. Very quickly,
Yeah.
Jexa
Yeah.
released a protocol called Vouch,
Oh, I know. I've
and
got. Yeah, I know that. But no, in terms of going through the technical thing, to find out that's just liquid staking he got that Vouch is, which is great. Vouch is awesome, and I actually use it. It's awesome. But how much is it? I'm just want to compare it. If X1s cost $150 a month, how much does Pulse Chain cost to
they
validate
would
on?
cost very. It wouldn't. You
Be
do
less
not
than that?
need much less. It's got to be less because you
Yeah,
don't need a GPU. Yeah, you don't need a GPU, dude. It's like just
you don't
it's
need a
just
server.
it's
I haven't looked at
no,
this.
no.
I
You
mean,
need a server, but you just don't need a high. You need good memory. I
I
think you
think
need
I think
sixty-four gig of RAM and maybe four or 8 terabytes of 4. I think 4 terabytes is enough, right? But you don't need a GPU. That's the
no, you need some sort of GPU. Just probably
important
the
part
CPU.
because it's validating.
Yeah.
I think a CPU is fine, dude. I think the CPU can do it
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, I've got
because
to go.
it's not. That's the whole point.
Go, bro. Sorry,
Yeah.
but let's
Yes, mate.
next
All
time.
right. We'll catch you later. We'll see
See
you
you,
next time. Cheers,
everyone.
guys. Moo.